I think we can start. So can you repeat your question, Anukul, once?
Yeah, just a moment. The first question is, will biotechnology research be a new potential market post-COVID?
I think we can start. So can you repeat your question, Anukul, once?
Yeah, just a moment. There is some echo.
Yeah, just a
The first question is, will biotechnology research be a new potential?
Your voice is not clear, actually. Yeah, I think it is okay now.
Should I repeat?
No, I could listen. So I think I don't see that not the market as yet. We still can see that biotechnology research itself is a market, but it is mostly limited to the academic institutions. You see government-funded institutions and DST and DBT and other government agencies throughout the world, they promote research, and a lot of funding is available for several scientists, several groups, and they are coming with a lot of outputs as well. But yes, I think research is going to be the necessity in the coming days rather than an opportunity, because looking at the current conditions, what is very much visible is that people are not going to fight with physical enemy going ahead. Maybe they'll be fighting with some invisible enemy like the current crisis which is going on because of the COVID outbreak. And to me, it looks like it's not the first time we are challenged by a microorganism, especially a virus. There has been a history of such viruses affecting and challenging the mankind. And biotechnology market definitely has to be given a boost and importance. So I feel that in the future, maybe research as a service. Usually we see the software which have come up long way, software as a service. They call it very popularly as SaaS. Similarly, maybe we can expect that research as a service will be RAS. Maybe we can see companies coming forward who are going to do kind of contract research with the clients. They will have some inputs, they will generate some outputs, and then depending upon the client requirements, they'll be able to deliver. I think yes, I feel it is going to be an upcoming market, and it will be very popular in the upcoming future as well.
Okay. So, like, do you think or will there be any shift in the career prospect and the demand of the more biotech professional in future? Like mainly post-COVID?
Currently, if you see the future prospects, when we were the students of biotechnology and life sciences and microbiology and molecular biology, whatnot, why we came to this field, or why most of our generation came to biotechnology field, is because they failed in the medicals. In fact, at our times, mostly the MBBS and engineering were the only options. And people who were not able to clear the medical exams or the MBBS, they were not able to get the seats in medical exams. They were the people who were choosing for biotechnology or any other advanced courses which generated. And if you see, just 10 years people have been evolving, the courses have been evolving, the education has been evolving. And companies are nowadays recognizing the biotechnology potential, the skills which is being generated, being imparted in the students in the colleges and universities. But for getting a good job, in fact, for getting a good career prospect in biotechnology, till this time, what I'm thinking, or maybe many of us will agree, that you need a higher education. You will not be able to crack any good position if you simply have a graduation degree or BSc degree or BTech degree. So going ahead, I think persons will be definitely in demand, but there have to be proper alignment between what is being taught in the universities, the colleges, and what is required in the industries. I do agree that it is a big gap, not only biotechnology, it is also in the other domains like engineering and medicals and all those industries, banking and all. But what I feel life sciences market is a bit more distant in aligning the skills which is being taught in the colleges and universities and the skill set which is actually needed in the industries. It is a bigger distance between these two alignments. So I think in the coming time, challenges will be more, and skill set, smart skill set will be needed. If you are smart in biotechnology laboratory, if you are running the equipments and if you are doing the analysis, I think that is not going to be the normal in the coming time. So if you see the current scenario of the COVID pandemic research, people are focusing on vaccines. And if you see the vaccine research itself is a very cumbersome process. It takes a lot of time. And people who are doing in silico analysis or by utilizing bioinformatics skills, I think they are at least able to weed out the bad candidates in the very beginning. That people are not going to synthesize those molecules, the testing and all those stuff. So weeding out of the bad candidates also is happening with the help of technology. And it's not biotechnology, it's information technology. So what I mean to say in a nutshell is going ahead, biotechnology professionals need not be only the lab professionals. They need not be having proper skill set only into the laboratories. They will have to be multidisciplinary. They will have to equip their knowledge with the help of information technology, software development, understanding of the softwares. That is going to be the new normal. So I agree that when the condition becomes a bit more normal, maybe the focus will be more towards life sciences research, or maybe I say it is a necessity. People have to actually go and invest in life sciences research. People have to go and take it seriously, and then the skill set what will be required in the students or in the professionals what is coming up in the generation, they will have a big gap because people will have good knowledge and skill set in laboratory skills, but I'm not very sure how much they will be able to compete with the interdisciplinary requirement of the market and the companies which are going to be coming into the future.
See, Anukul, I would like to add here something that I think your question was, will there be a boom in the field of biotechnology from this COVID episode and all? So
Correct.
hello, am I audible to you, Anukul and all?
Yes.
Yeah, so I would like to add something here is, see, it's not like that since COVID, the coronavirus has arrived, then only we are moving towards career perspective in biotechnology. No, it's just one single virus. There are yet another so many diseases for whom the vaccine is yet to be discovered. And we are yet lacking on that aspect. It's not that we have to focus only on corona. There are so many diseases which are still prevalent globally, and the mankind is still lacking towards designing a proper vaccine against it. In case of India, what I think is the academic portion, whatever we are providing the education to the students at their college level in the field of biotechnology is very much primitive. Whenever the course of biotechnology has started in India, let's say when I'm talking about some 15, 20 years back, it's the same syllabus going right now also. Within these 20 years, no improvement of syllabus, no introduction of recent technology. Whatever I was studying during my college days, the same things the students are studying right now also. So this is the main point where the basic education is lacking. the basic awareness towards recent technology and all that is being lacking in our students. And if we don't equip our students with the fundamentals, with the advanced technologies, it is impossible to think of any job, any practical applicability of the term biotechnology or microbiology towards welfare of mankind. You talk in terms of vaccine designing or drug designing or any other treatment or any other applied like area of biotechnology. No, we are still unable because the students lack the practicality. I have seen in my lab, they are the masters, they are coming from the MTech background. They are doing many of them are doing the dissertation, their PhD also, but they still lack the basic qualification, how to operate with different equipments because hands-on training are still lacking at college level. So what I think is, if you want to increase the job prospects, if you want to think that whether biotechnology is having any career prospect, whether or not post-COVID era or pre-COVID era, it's going to be the same, no. Until unless we equip our students right at the college level, it is impossible to think of a sound research, a sound like discovery that can be applicable to the welfare of the mankind. So what my viewpoint is, the government should think like they should come up with ready ideas, they should revise the syllabus, they should put more hands-on. Most of them are still having some only 6 months of dissertation, and that is only hands-on that the students are getting, and that too in different industries, not in the colleges even. So what I recommend is the government should look over the policies again. They should check the different colleges that they are affiliating for biotechnology studies and academics. They should see whether the students are being given the practical awareness to the equipments. They are being aware to the recent technologies or not. What are the practical like applied purposes of biotechnology? How this syllabus can be useful for them towards actually designing a vaccine, towards actually doing a quality sound research, towards actual designing of a drug designing and all. So the government should focus more on revising of the syllabus, making the student much equipped so that they can put themselves with much confidence that yes, I am having this much of knowledge and I can contribute myself towards the new discovery and all. So in terms of profession. So whether if you talk about job prospects, until unless our students are equipped, we cannot think of a good job prospect either in India or worldwide anywhere. So that is going to be my add-on to whatever sir has told right now. Thank you. You please proceed.
Yeah, just to add a few points. Yeah, I would completely agree with what Amit sir and Amita madam has spoke. The thing is, both of them go parallelly. Yes, what sir said is it has given you a boom. COVID has given you a boom. Yeah, and madam is saying that it is the same boom. It is already existing. But what I want to add on is COVID has given a realization for the existing boom. In fact, the boom is always the same. It's not the boom, in fact, the necessity. This biotechnology is not the opportunity, it's a necessity. Yes, it is necessity, and that will allow us to be equipped with so many solutions for all the existing problems or upcoming problems. But this COVID has made us realize what is the importance of biotechnology actually, because neither the one who is studying the biotechnology subject or the one who is implementing in the colleges know exactly what is the applicable area. It's only about what you learn, what you do in the practicals. Even though the students or the faculty or management is aware of the equipments, the technologically handling it, but they are unaware of what exactly the practically or what exactly the approachability of that. So whatever they have learned, where it should be applied. Now everybody knows what is the importance of vaccine, but before the advent of corona, we never know, like people never used to realize or give importance to what vaccine is all about, who are the vaccine designing scientists. Always the incline was completely towards computers, information technology, but now it has made us realize how important even the life sciences or biotechnology, microbiology is all about. So that is what I just wanted to add on. All the participants also now can have a good realization. It is a platform, actually corona has given us a platform to understand how important we are learning biotechnology and molecular biology, what we can lend to the society from our side. So that is what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyotna ma'am. So my last question to Dr. Amit, that how would be the future biotechnology and engineering in medicine and biotechnology education paradigm post-COVID?
That's what I also covered a bit in my in the last point which you mentioned, that now only lab skills are not going to be the normal thing for biotechnology professionals. You have to equip yourself with the new technologies which is coming up. If we go deep into the technologies which are going in good alignment with biotechnology, like Internet of Things, we have artificial intelligence, we have neural networks. So earlier we were all utilizing these technologies in the form of the tools we are using by several bioinformatics tools. You use BLAST, you use pairwise alignment, you use multiple sequence alignment, you use, let us say, phylogenetic analysis. And behind all these tools, all these technologies were always there. But now there have to be the biotechnology guy, there have to be a biotech professional who understands a bit of these technologies, so that he will be able to transform the software into the exact requirement, what is needed into the laboratory, what is needed by the researcher. So I think engineering with medicine have not been actually utilized much, not only in India. If you see the other parts of the world also, engineering and medical sciences have been going parallel always. But this is the time now people are realizing. If you see TST is coming up with several projects which are supporting on the app development, which is related to the Medicare, which is related to the healthcare. The DST and the other funding agencies are promoting several engineering mixed biotechnology research. And that is what I say is it is apt as well, because the output what we can get into the laboratory in years, that can be made very speedy, and the output what we are getting with let us say 60 to 70% accuracy by spending a lot of time. If we intermingle with engineering sciences and several new technologies like artificial intelligence and Internet of Things and machine learning, I think all the analysis can be done quite quicker, and not only quicker, with accuracy as well. If you see any software what we are utilizing in bioinformatics for supporting the biotechnology research, or let's say rescue drug discovery or vaccine research, the exercise what is done with the help of laboratory equipments, that same thing with an accuracy of more than 75%, 80%. Some of the softwares are also claim that they have more than 85, 90% accuracy. So what else do you want? Only thing is people in life sciences research, students of biotechnology have to be a bit clear that they have to be interdisciplinary. And going ahead, I think to direct answer to your question, the university have to transform their syllabus as well. And in the syllabus, apart from having the traditional subjects of geology, botany, or let us say biodiversity and all those stuff, they have to actually slowly mix these new technologies, so that people who are taking up these courses, students who are learning these courses, they are at least aware of this. Tomorrow when they go to a biotechnology company who is let us say research-based company who offers services on bioinformatics, or who offers services specifically for customized software development for biotechnology research, or maybe life sciences research, they will be able to cope up with all those things, and they will be able to understand. So I think going ahead, all the professionals in biotechnology and the students of biotechnology have to make one thing very sure, that they have to be software friendly. And when I say software friendly, it doesn't mean that you are just aware of using social media on Facebook and all those stuff. You have to be a bit acquainted with the programming languages, specifically the languages which are utilized in the software which is related to life sciences research, like Perl, like BioJava. All these softwares, in fact, they have been discovered, or maybe they have been made by an IT professional only. But now, how to utilize it appropriately, how do you include that into your day-to-day laboratory life? I think people have to be aware about these technologies. So I feel yes, going ahead, engineering will work more closely with biotechnology professionals. Engineering will work more closely with the biotechnology and related courses like microbiology, genetics, and all those stuff.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. One question I would like to ask from Jyotsna ma'am, like, do you predict a boom in the microbial genomics research as well as a scope of bioinformatics from now onwards?
Thank you, sir, for the question. Yes, that is what I was talking about. Yes, definitely there should be a boom. It's not the current boom or Corona's given chance boom, but it is actually the importance. Like till now, no people, like people were unaware of what is the importance of sanitization. They never know the word hydroxychloroquine. Yeah, they never know what is sanitization, what is protecting ourselves, what is microbe, what is vaccine. Nothing was aware. Like people were totally unaware of all these terms. But today, to be very frank, even a small kid knows what is corona. So now, what is sanitization, what is self protection? So all these terms people have now come aware. So that is how people get acquainted with what is the importance of microbiology. Like once they know what is sanitization, they will definitely need a sanitizer for them. And if the sanitizer is required, now who is the one to produce it? The microbiologist or the industrialist. The industrialist into the microbiology, they are the persons who would cultivate, like who would culture the organisms, check the sanitizers upon them, lab testing. All these research has to be taking place. So if we need to meet the demand of the public, yes, there should be a person who is producing all these things. Yeah, the sanitizers. Or if you talk about food, yeah, hygiene about the food and safety. Previously people used to be very much street food friendly. They are very much liking all the street foods, and wherever it was, they're least bothered about what is the after effects. But now, yes, everybody is well aware of what is the importance of protecting ourselves, what is the importance of making a healthy lifestyle. So definitely what microbiology is, like how to preserve the food, how to sterilize the food, and how to maintain its validity, the expiry date, whatever you call about. So all these terms have come up now. So definitely, even a lay person will know what is the importance of maintaining all these standards. And to maintain these standards, there should be the research professionals who will be helping out them. So definitely, there should be a boom coming up. Like people start realizing what is the importance now. This inclination, as I already added, this inclination towards IT and ignorance towards biotechnology or microbiology has to now go away. Like it should fade out, because these many days we were suffering with lack of funds, lack of concentration on the field of life science. They used to just simply laugh, saying that there is no life in life science. But now people will realize there is no life without life science, because we are the one who is protecting them indirectly. Like we are the life science soldiers who are helping them out, who are maintaining their sanitary hygiene, everything. So yes, there should be definitely the importance of life science, whether it is with respect to microbiology or biotechnology. It should come up. People started realizing it, and it will definitely come up.
Yes, and I would like to add here that corona is neither the beginning nor the end. It is just an intermediate. It's not the first virus that has attacked. The humanity has been attacked with so many other deadly viruses and bacteria since ancient times. And in the future also, we can't say that it's the end. So many other viruses can also attack. So it's the need of the hour that people look for the complete exhaustive study at genomic level and proteomic level of these microbial flora, and hence it becomes relevant to give much more focus on the genomic. You asked Anupul about this microbial genomic research, right? The question was about the
Correct.
genomic research of microbes. So yes, in order to design any vaccine or drug, it is important to understand the complete genomic of the bacteria or the virus. So I think from now onwards, not only the colleges, the universities, rather the different R&D sectors, the different companies that are working on the exhaustive research of microbes, they will be paying much more attention towards understanding genome, how it is close to, like what are the degree of foreignness related to this human body, so that the vaccines can be designed at a later stage. So definitely the genomic study, the proteomic study should get upliftment towards designing proper vaccine, and the research should flourish. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. A couple of questions directly to Amita, ma'am. So, do you provide an insight on changing working atmosphere at BioAccess, how the research and internship program will be carried out?
Yes, see, like BioAccess is also not untouched with this corona episode and all. So definitely we are seeing dwindling of the services. The training is almost like, of course, we cannot even allow even a single student to come to the lab right now. Whether lockdown is there or is not there, our planning is for the next academic year, that is for the 2021, at least for this academic year, we are not going to entertain any in-person training program or so. So we are going to promote the online trainings, not only in bioinformatics, rather in biotechnology also. We have designed some specialized courses that are given online, and we have very much in full details, we have analyzed it, how to help the different internships, how to help the different students who want to do the trainings and the programs cannot do it hands-on right now, how they can be benefited with these online programs. So we have broadly categorized our programs in two terms. One is bioinformatics, other is biotechnology. In bioinformatics, we are giving them step-by-step details of how to use different tools and softwares for designing a drug or for designing any vaccine. And in biotechnology, we are given them the step-by-step procedure of the different practical aspects that we have been doing in our training programs in terms of DNA extraction, RNA extraction, aerosol running, PCR, microarrays, anything, whatever we are doing right now regarding each and everything, we are giving a full details insight of all the procedures, how to do them. Of course, in biotechnology, it is mandatory to do everything hands-on, but at least if they are equipped with all these procedural details in the beginning, then it becomes very much like useful for them to actually perform the hands-on once the condition normalizes. So these are the two basic online trainings that we have been giving. The details can be obtained from Jyotsna Madam at a later stage. And not only this, we are planning to conduct every week one online session where the corresponding supervisor of the course will be having a live face-to-face chat with all the registered trainees, where they will be sorting out all the possible queries, any like hitching wherever they are stuck in, any like questions they have, they can ask to their supervisor live. So in this way, since we are not going to do any individual training like in-person training, we are not allowing anyone to enter in the lab because the lab will increase the chances of comorbidities. We are very much prone to already different virus and bacteria over here in the in vitro condition. So we are also like encouraging the in silico studies in terms of bioinformatics and biotechnologies, and we have designed specialized modules. We are planning to conduct several specific the conferences and workshops wherein all these will be certified. We are welcoming their research papers in case they have worked upon several aspects of life sciences and all, so they can submit their papers. The announcement of these workshops and conferences will be done shortly through our Facebook pages or through all our attendees who are our trainees. Everyone will be sent to the individual mails. Everyone will be informed about these upcoming conferences and all. So yes, I am expecting, like, if not in person, we can expect a boom in the online trainings, because it's waste like sitting idle at home and thinking of the condition to be normalized. The students, the various interns should be encouraged to get the complete, like you can say, what you call the complete uses of these lockdown period, wherein you can use the facility of technologies, the use of computers, the online trainees, and equip yourself with the recent advancements and programs that we have been launching in terms of trainings and all. So this was about trainings. In terms of services, as we are doing different services also, so in terms of services, yes, since the different academic institutions are closed right now, we are not seeing so much inquiries related to different services that we are providing related to bacterial identification, fungal identification, or different human related PDT that we have been providing. So that we are not getting right now, but that we are planning to encourage our in-house projects in this lockdown era. Whatever trainings and projects we have been doing during these are in-house projects that we would like to complete as early as possible, utilizing the full this lockdown episode, so that once this condition normalizes, as we'll be busy with the regular clients work, so this part we'll be going to use to complete our backlogs that are already prevalent in the lab. So we'd like to complete with those parts initially. So let's hope these online programs, the conferences that we are planning, that should be beneficial to the students, and the students should take at most, they should avail at most to their fullest. Thank you.
So one last question, ma'am. So as I think some participant must be knowing that BioAccess publishes some research article on the name of Helix in the field of life sciences as well as in engineering and this medicine. So, like whether Helix will provide some discount on paper publication related to COVID research?
See, Helix is a very renowned journal, and since we are listed in Thomson Reuters, providing discounts will be a bit something that we should be discussing at a long stretch. Right now, I cannot promise for any further discount, but yes, we are looking for a separate, like you can say a separate journal or an issue, a specialized issue, specially dedicated for COVID research. So that we are planning right now, that is under process, that very soon we are going to launch a specialized issues in Helix, wherein all the research related to COVID in terms of its genomic study, proteomic study, any idea towards vaccine designing, drug designing, or any review of literature, because COVID is not a new virus, like it has its course from long back. So anyone who has done a specific survey towards what was the path of its infection, in what way the different strains of corona has been infecting the humankind since long. So if any such research anybody is doing, then we can think of launching a specialized issue related to coronavirus and its epidemic and pandemic. So far as discounts are concerned, we may look into our next meeting or any time whether some discounts are provided on this. We can think of it. In case any discount is decided, that will be intimated through our Helix website. And not only for corona, rather for any other infectious disease also, if the students are having any significant work that they can contribute towards scientific community, they can put forward their research papers to us. If we find that yes, we are getting like some substantial work that can be proven like beneficial towards designing of vaccine or drug, not only towards corona, rather for other diseases also, then we can think of providing discounts also for publication in Helix. Yes, but that is like things to be decided at the later stage, not now.
Okay, okay. So thank you, ma'am. That's all from my side. Now I think we can take some questions from the participants, if any.
Unmute.
So, sorry, I got a question actually directly from one of the participants. He is Dr. Yogesh Kumar. He asks that, is it possible to predict the vaccine using computational science or bioinformatics? I think now this approach may speed up the discovery process. This is quite an apt question, and then quite an important like area as well. Yes, actually, in silico vaccine screening and in silico vaccine designing and development is not a new thing. I remember, I think long back, in fact, if you see Indian scenario, University of Pune had a very strong group actually who used to work upon vaccines. I think they're still very active there. After that, we have a lot of other research institutions who implemented bioinformatics, and they developed several tools and techniques as well. So people are in fact utilizing vaccine screening technologies and strategies these days. People are utilizing all those tools for not only screening, they are also utilizing the tools for toxicity testing. In fact, the tools are available for the accuracy of the active sites and the binding sites of those vaccine candidates, which can in advance tell you that if you utilize this vaccine candidate against one of the microorganisms, how effectively it is going to bind. So yes, I think bioinformatics can be utilized, and in fact, it is being utilized by top research institutes who are doing the vaccine. We are who are utilizing the vaccine research technology. So bioinformatics and in silico vaccine screening and development is one of those very hot areas which is being utilized by the researchers these days.
Yes, and recently only we have conducted a workshop towards vaccine designing. I think, Jyotsna, you may give some insight. You have conducted that workshop, right, in vaccine designing. So you can tell what was your feedback and how BioAxis can help in vaccine designing courses, if at all you are having some.
Yes.
Please.
So that was a good question from the participants, and actually I would about to answer it. Anyhow, vaccine designing, yes, it's a very important concept of which would help the life science professionals rather than directly going into the clinical research aspects, directly dealing with the microbe which is highly contagious and dangerous. It's always preferable that you go from in silico direction, that is, you opt for a reverse vaccinology approach, wherein the person who is performing this particular task will be free from the microbe. He doesn't require any laboratory, or he requires any live organism for the testing, but instead we can rely on the databases. Like COVID, as madam said, it is not new. We as a layperson, we may think COVID is completely a new, COVID is a new disease, but coronaviruses are not new to the life science. They are already known. They belong from a SARS group. So being that the database is available, we can utilize them. We can study the genomics, the proteomics of the organism in depth using several software tools, databases and all. Then we have a separate course for it. We have a vaccinology or immunology, which is a separate course, which will help you out in identifying what are the lead molecules of the pathogen, which are actually playing an important role in making you prone for the disease, or what are the antigens that provoke the synthesis of antibodies in your host. So that is all dealt in the vaccine designing course. We have also conducted a hands-on workshop, like the hands-on in the in silico online workshop, which was very much successful. All the participants have got very good feedback from the participants. So I really recommend people to go ahead with these concepts of vaccine designing, drug designing. Learn for yourself. Do not go for where can I apply, whether it will provide me a job or not. First learn, make yourself aware of how we can fight against these conditions, make yourself equipped with, then obviously the opportunities come. As sir already said, it is not the opportunity, it is the necessity. Life science is a necessity. So now once we have selected this subject, let us get aware of all the concepts which are in demand. So yeah, I recommend you people go for learning what vaccine designing is, what drug designing is, what is genomic study, proteomic study. So bioaccess is open for all the students, all the individuals who will be interested. So we would provide our complete support, complete assistance, whether not in person but through online, we can approach you.
I have one more question actually by one of the participants. He asks that what is being done right now, looking at the current situation. So my direct answer will be it's nothing actually new. We have been doing it, but we were actually doing at a slower rate, and then we were not really focused that we have to complete this within this much stipulated time or something, as we are running now. In fact, if you see, people are every week you will find one of the countries that they are claiming that okay, we will be coming up with the vaccine in so many days. We will come up with the vaccine in 10 days, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. The issue here is we have not been very focused towards improving or supporting biotechnology in the correct manner. Today, I'll list only 3 points. What is being done? One, people are running for a better and faster diagnosis. That we have to have a high-class diagnosis, faster results, and all those stuff. You must be listening a lot of stories about the rapid test kits and all those coming into the market. Second thing, what people are trying to look at is that what kind of new medications can be available, which can actually, again, they want it a better medicine. They want a faster efficacy of the medicines. That now when the COVID came, now people are thinking, okay, now we should have some new medication which should come into the market within a week, and then that can kill the virus. It's actually never the fact. And the third thing, people are going mad about the new vaccines. And if you see very carefully, as Jyotsna rightly mentioned, that it's not about viruses are not something very new to us. People are fighting with the viruses since long, and for some of the viruses we have got a vaccine, we have got a successful vaccine, and there are many more viruses which have actually made the humans feel that they are much more stronger than the humanity itself. So people are nowadays looking for a faster diagnosis, better diagnosis. They want reposition medicines, they want new medicines, they are trying to develop the new vaccines. But all these things, if you intermingle, they all have to come forward with a advanced skill which is there in one of the biotechnology or research professionals who are working in the area of vaccine research or biotechnology research or the microbiology research. And to be very frank with you, I think we will be requiring a lot more governmental support in the coming time whenever the condition becomes a bit normal. I think not only with the funding, but we have to have some mentorship institutes which are coming forward. As we discussed in the beginning, I think research as a service has to be actually promoted. That will bring the actual research culture not only in the higher grade institutions or higher grade companies, even to the startups, even to the newer companies. People will take it as a passion if the research as a service is recognized and it is being utilized in the market by several academic and the governmental agencies. I could see only these two questions. Okay, I think one more question is there. What will be the role of phytochemicals in corona medicine? One of you will yes? What is the role of phytochemicals in corona medicine? What is the role of phytochemicals in the corona medicine?
Phytochemicals we are talking about, right? Yes. Yeah. See, it has been in the general understanding of the public that we don't have any specified medicine against coronavirus disease. All we can do is to increase our immunity. And to increasing the immunity, different phytochemicals have been playing their role since long. The Indian medicine system is very much aware towards all these in our Ayurvedic system of medicine. We have been seeing the role of all these plant products, whether you call them plant products or the phytochemicals. In one or the other form, we have seen the role of ashwagandha, giloy, we have seen the role of tulsi and all. So it's very much in the general public idea how to increase their immunity system. You talk about those turmeric, tulsi and all. So turmeric, ginger, all these plant products have definitely proven, and it has been published in different reputed scientific journals also, that yes, they have a valid approach towards increasing and enhancing your immunity power and the fighting capacity of the body towards the antigenic material. So all these phytochemicals have been playing their role since long, and right now, this is the only condition, that is the only step that we can increase our immunity, and for that definitely we rely on these important phytochemicals. We should incorporate more and more of them. Anyway, our food system is incorporating them daily. We take them as our staple food every day, but it is desirable to increase their quantity, like certain like giloy and all, so we can increase their amount as a daily intake of once or twice a day to increase our immunity. Definitely, this is not a treatment against COVID, but this is to increase your immunity, and that is all we can do at this point of time. So yes, it can play a role in fighting with corona.
I think I will add to it that government of India is also very serious towards all these phytochemicals utilizations nowadays. Ministry of Ayush, if you see, they have come up with regular updates upon what are those active compounds found in the plants which are being utilized, and they are well known for improving the immunity and all. So I think going ahead, this is also a good point that phytochemicals will also have a good say, and a lot of active compounds which are coming from the plant products will also take a place in the drug development or the better drug development in the coming time.
That's it, I think.
I think we have another question. Can we elaborate more about phytochemicals as drug candidates? Jyotsna, you want to take it up?
Yeah. I just wanted to add upon this. The importance of phytochemicals is already proved with the advent of corona, because it is officially, even Modi sir has announced officially that intake of tulsi, the kada made up of kale mirch, tulsi and jaggery, I guess. So this kada has to be consumed daily. So people are now getting so much information either in televisions or through your mass media that phytochemicals are really playing a role. And I have also heard a statement that Indians are less prone to corona when compared to the immunity of Americans. That itself proves Indians always have the habit of, it is coming in our tradition. We consume lots of black pepper, we consume ginger on our daily basis. These are all the daily, like we generally follow, saying that our kitchen itself is a medical shop. In our Ayurveda, we always used to believe that our kitchen is a medical shop where we used to intake so many immunity boosters. That may be in the form of morning tea. We add ginger, we add kali mirch. So these, even turmeric. Turmeric is our regular basis consumption. So this all made us already inbuilt with good immunity, which itself proves that yes, we are highly immune, or the phytochemicals are really helpful. This corona has now proved itself, so you or me or need not discuss about how important it is, because it's already proved. Now we are here to learn what is the importance of, each and every component, which can in particular help in boosting the immunity. So yes, phytochemicals can also be used as ligands. The term ligand means we use them as drugs, as the lead molecules. So we are already working upon it. There are several publications which are upcoming, our publications, wherein we are already studying the importance of these kali mirch, ginger, and even tulsi towards fighting this corona. But not only corona, there are several previous publications of our bioaccess students and our clients, wherein they have dealt with moringa green. Yeah. Is there any question from the participants? So I think that
No, I am unable to see.
I think we have 2-3 more questions. We will take a couple of more actually. One person is asking that increasing the stringency in food safety and regulations, will they demand more kind of kits and more reagents for testing the pesticides and all those things in the coming time, for the food safety specifically? I think this is a very valid point. In fact, the kind of contaminations and the kind of pollution which we are having, and then if you see all those vegetables and all those Ayurvedic stuffs which we are consuming, they will definitely require a lot of different stringent technologies, different kits, and definitely a lot of reagents also for testing the kind of pesticides which are there in those stuffs. Sorry, I got disconnected. Anybody else who wants to use this, add some comments on this? Do we need more kind of kits and more testing approaches for the food safety? And do we need more tight regulations for food safety in the coming time after this COVID crisis has happened? Or maybe I think it is nothing related to the COVID crisis, but generally also for food safety, this has been a big concern specifically in India from the past so many years about health and about hygiene. One person asked that is there any success story for personalized medicine, which can actually be utilized in the current crisis? I don't think there is any personalized medicine which has succeeded as till date. I think we will still need, that's what I told, that we will be requiring interdisciplinary skills. It's not going to be the laboratory skills who are going to fetch you the success in the personalized medicine. But yes, not personalized medicines, but personalized diagnostics and personalized prescriptions have been working out very well. The companies, several companies in US, several companies in India also have came up, and they are helping people for personalized wellness, personalized diet, and personalized medication, specifically the dose setting. But if you ask me, any personalized medicine has succeeded or not, I don't think there is any data available as yet.
See, I would like to add here, definitely personalized medicine is a very nice concept and it will be having the maximum efficiency also. But talking about in the context of COVID, every day the ICMR is adding one or the other symptoms related to COVID. Like we are still not sure about what are symptoms of COVID. So unless we explore the disease, we diagnose the disease fully, we cannot even think about personalized medicine. So right now we are at the very initial stage of being face to face with this COVID. So first, we have to explore thoroughly what are all the symptoms of this COVID as per the ICMR guidelines and all. Then only we can think of designing personalized medicine. The genomic has to be explored thoroughly. Genomic of virus as well as the human also has to be explored thoroughly before designing the personalized medicine. Yes, the concept is very nice, but right now this is a very nascent stage. You cannot as you say, it's very far being existence right now because the symptoms are yet to be fully explored. Thank you. Mute.
I have one question here from one of the participants. I think it is set to myself only, so all the questions are coming here. So there are growing environmental concerns. In fact, there are growing environmental concerns because of lot of PPE kits and lot of masks which are being produced and being utilized. So what is our take on this? How this can be actually regulated, and can biotechnology waste management utilized for all these stuff? You want to take it, Jyotsna?
Yeah. So this is again an age-old study wherein microbiology deals with identification of organisms, microorganisms, which have peculiar nature of clearing the environment. Like we call them scavengers of the earth, where there are certain microorganisms. There are a group of microorganisms that act upon these generally not easily degradable material. Again, the concept of biodegradation is totally different, but here the concept of bioremediation comes wherein you use microorganisms and certain cultures, specifically a group, you say it as a consortium is a group of mixed cultures that enable the clearing up of the environment, purifying the environment. So if you take up again here also we study the genomics, that is a genomic level which has to be conducted, wherein you will study each and every gene and its properties, the functions and the structural aspects with respect to the environment. So it's completely a new discipline. So yes, microbiology can answer this question with the upcoming lots of non-bioremediable, non-biodegradable masks, the PPEs, and the new kind of wastage that is coming up also requires the microbiologist to develop these cultures, to identify these microbes that can clear up or help us in clearing the environment.
Yeah, I would like here to add something that this attack was a quite sudden one. This attack of corona, like we had only like 1 month, 2 months time to combat and to supply all the important amenities. The very supply of PPE was the prime question for government. And at that point, who thinks of their disposal, a proper disposal? So definitely all we could do is to gather more of PPE without caring proper about how it will be properly disposed of and all. And nowadays, every day we are hearing this news of their improper disposal in water sources and all, and how the sea creatures are being hampered nowadays. So as already told that at this point of time also the microbiology can play a crucial role, where we have several patenting and publications wherein we have proven that certain microbes have hydrocarbon degrading properties, and such PPEs which are not even hydrocarbon, let's say they are of even mostly they are hydrocarbons, polythenes, even some bacteria are capable of degrading polythenes also. We have some publications there. So the government should focus more and more towards such research in which we can come with biotech solution of these disposal. We should concentrate more and more of microbial research, wherein the culturing of these such microbes which can dispose, discard, degrade such PPE substances made of polythenes or other like non-biodegradable to a certain extent, but we have certain specialized bacteria which can very much decompose them towards much and much smaller components. So microbiology research is like very much upcoming, and more and more of us should be giving much more like care towards this, towards more and more culturing of such bacteria for their proper disposal. Thank you.
I think this is going to be, as we see the last couple of months, we are seeing a boom in the industries which were making masks, sanitizers, and PPE kits. I think maybe the time is quite near when you will find some industries who are actually set up just to offer the services of degrading all these consumables and all those stuff. In fact, a lot of technologies are available. In fact, a lot of processes are available in the biotechnology domain, which can be utilized by such companies or such startups. Maybe one can think of a startup in this area, that how to properly biodegrade all these toxic stuffs. I think we have made some more questions, but we will take a couple of them, and then we will conduct on one more session, specifically more detailed, and then we will take more questions. One question, but one person is asking is, can you explain more about research as a service opportunities in the focus of Corona? Anybody who wants to take it up?
What is the question? Research possibilities in Corona?
No, what he asks is, can you explain more about research as a service opportunities in the focus of Corona?
Research as a service opportunity in terms of Corona.
Yeah.
I can add on. This is one best example what we have just discussed, like the development of microbial cultures which can degrade the PPEs and all the self-protection equipments. So that itself is an example of research as a service. This is a research wherein I deal with or I study the microbes which are specialized peculiar property. That itself is a research, but I am providing it as a service towards a particular organization or service toward the government to clear off this waste. So that is the one best example where I can say research is proved as a service.
Yes, and we can further explore the genomic of that virus also, what is the trend of mutation it is being showing, and how the different strains are being evolving from one strain of Corona. So all these are a matter of research that can be undertaken and provided as a good service to the respective companies or whosoever are involved in designing vaccine or drugs against it.
I think, see, I understand, if I understand his question properly, he says that what are the opportunities for this? To be very frank with you, this culture is still not there, at least in India, such as a service. If you see the boom of the companies which came claiming for the rapid diagnostic kits for COVID-19, the technology is one and the same behind most of those kits. And again, if you see more deeper into this, those kits would say that it is not appropriated, it is not utilized, it is not being utilized. But I think if you have a larger population where you have to take research data, these fast kits will be much more appropriate there, rather than for a diagnostic scenario where you are much afraid about the false positives and the false negatives. So I think the culture has to be made first. People have to be ready that, okay, I am the guy who have a lot of research outputs, some patents are there, which I am willing to share as a service. So once those kind of cultures come, some startups come into the market, that we have got some IPRs, we have got some patents, we have got some publications which are really meaningful, not just going to a publication house and it is published and people reading and referring it, it doesn't have utility into the society. If some startups or if some young guys or if some researchers come into the market with a saying that, okay, I have IPR generated and I'm ready to offer this as a service, then we have to see the response of the market, how the market responds to it. But I feel research as a service is going to be the new future in the coming time. I think we will take more questions maybe in the next discussion. We already have over to you, Anupul, if you want to add something, or maybe we can think of winding it up.
Okay, so thank you everyone. I appreciate all of you being here. Thanks again for joining us today, and we will see you next time soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.